I have 10 questions here, and whether you already know the answers or not, I am sure that you will learn something with each one of the questions to help you become a better marathon runner. All the answers to these questions are based on these two books. One, the Daniels Running Formula by Jack Daniels, and the Running Science book by Owen Anderson. After reading hundreds of books about training and running and marathoning, these are my go-to books when it comes to train better and improve as a runner. And I thought of this quiz format because of two reasons. They say that knowledge is power. Well, actually, the application of knowledge is power, and I thought that a quiz is an effective way to learn and to really remember the lessons so you can apply them and become a better marathon runner. So, are you ready? Let's get started. We are all scared to lose our hard-earned fitness when we are injured or during the off-season. So, question number 1 is, how much fitness do you lose if you stop training for 14 days? Option A, between 8 and 9%, and option B, between 2 and 3%. Well, the answer is B, between 2 and 3%. According to table 15.1 of the Jack Daniels book, if you stop training for around 14 days, you lose 2.7% of your fitness. And the good news is that if you add some kind of cycling or strength training during these 14 days, you only lose 1.7% of your fitness. Question number 2 is related to one of the most common mistakes I see runners make, all the people I follow in Strava. Most of the runners that are training for a marathon are making this mistake. And the question is, what should be the maximum percentage of weekly mileage covered in a long run? Option A, between 20 to 30%, and option B, between 30 to 40%. The answer is A, between 20 to 30%. And it's one of the most important lessons I learned and start applying from the Jack Daniels book. And he also recommends to cap your long run to 2.5 hours maximum. So it's way better to try to add more weekly mileage throughout the week and increase your weekly mileage than to try to cram more than 30, 40 or 50% of your mileage into a long run. Believe me, you will become a better runner and a more successful marathon runner. Now let's talk about different types of workouts. Question number 3. What is the primary benefit of including tempo runs in your marathon training? Option A, improved speed and sprinting ability, or option B, increased lactate threshold abilities. And the answer is B, increased lactate threshold. Tempo runs are also called threshold runs, and their main goal is to improve our body's ability to clear blood lactate from our muscles and keep it below manageable levels. Just a quick note, a threshold run should be run at about half marathon pace. I really like question 4 and is related to strength training. Let's do it. Which muscle group is critical for maintaining good running form in the later stages of a marathon? Option A, calf and glute mid muscles, and option B, core and hip muscles. The answer is B, core and hip muscles. And even though calf and glute mid are like the muscles that work the most during running, if we want to keep a good running form and don't slouch and try to be as efficient as possible in the later stages of a marathon, you really need to focus on strengthening your core and hip muscles. Question number 5 is really important because once we've trained a lot, we want to maximize our chances to be as fit as possible when the marathon comes. So the question is, what is the recommended taper period before a marathon? A, 2 weeks, and B, 3 weeks. And the actual answer is B, 3 weeks. According to both Jack Daniels and a study they did with 158,000 marathon runners, the best taper period is 3 weeks, and it increases your chances to be as fit as possible and crush your marathon. And the recommendations are that 3 weeks out of your run, you reduce your mileage by 10%, 2 weeks, 20 more percent, and the last week, you reduce your mileage by 30%. I've been doing this for my last few marathons, and I've been actually crushing them, finishing strong, and achieving PRs in 2 of my last 3 marathons. Now, we all want to run faster with less effort, and the best way to do that is to improve our running economy. So, the next question is, which method is most effective for improving running economy? A. Doing hill sprints, or B. Increasing your weekly mileage? And the answer is A. Hill sprints. Hill sprints are by far the best workout you can do to improve your running economy. Just 12 weeks of a training plan that includes hill sprints can increase your running economy by up to 3%. And a Finnish story revealed that hill sprinting is a way better option to improve your running economy than weekly mileage. If you ever run a marathon and hit the wall, the next question is for you. What is the most common cause of hitting the wall during a marathon? A. Lack of 20-mile long runs, or B. Depletion of glycogen stores? And the answer is B. There are no amount of fitness or long runs or weekly mileage that can overcome running out of glucose. And this relates to a previous question that talks about the average percentage of your long run during your weekly mileage. So doing 20-mile long runs when your mileage is not there, it's not gonna be the solution to avoid hitting the wall. Having the proper fueling plan is the solution. Now, the last few miles of a marathon are really tough, and having a strong mindset is really important to finish strong. So, this next question is, which workout is more effective for building mental toughness for marathon running? A. Long runs with a fast finish, or B. Short, high-intensity interval sessions? And the answer is A. Long runs with a fast finish. It's true that doing hard sprints are also benefit for mental toughness, but I think, and the books recommend, that those are better if you are running 5Ks or 10Ks. But if we are talking about specifically marathon training and finishing your marathon strong, long runs with a fast finish are one of the best ways to build your mental toughness. Now let's talk about weekly mileage, a very important part of marathon training, and more when we correlate that to the percentage of our long runs, right? So the question is, what is the ideal weekly mileage range for an intermediate marathon runner during peak training? A. Between 30 to 40 miles, or B. Between 50 to 70 miles? And the answer is option B, between 50 and 70 miles. It's true that a new runner can complete a marathon in just 30 to 40 miles per week, but when you want to take your running to the next level, when you have a few marathons under your belt and want to achieve a new PR, running between 50 to 70 miles per week is ideal. And I'm a great example of that. I just ran a 2 hours and 40 minutes marathon on an average weekly mileage of 60 miles per week. So here it is, question number 10 of this first quiz about marathon training. And personally, my favorite question. Why? First, because it's very visual, it's a graph, and I'm a very visual person. And two, because I see a lot of runners making the mistake that to train specific energy systems, they only need to focus on their pace or speed, when the reality is that you also need to focus on the ratio of the workout. So the last question is, which of the following two graphs represents a threshold workout? Option A, this kind of workout, or option B, this kind of workout? And the answer is option A. When you are doing threshold workouts, you need a ratio of 5:1. That means you are running for 5 minutes, for example, and you are resting for 1 minute. If you are doing thresholds of 10 minutes, you need to rest for 2 minutes. And the other graph, option B, was more like an interval session when you run and rest for the same amount of time. And that's a wrap for this first quiz about marathon training. So let me know, what was your score? Did you score 10 out of 10? Did you score 1 out of 10? It doesn't matter your score. The important thing is that you learned more about marathon training and that you go and apply those learnings into your training so you can become a better marathon runner. And if you think we can do more of these marathon training quizzes or training quizzes in general, just let me know in the comments and I will be super happy to make a new one.